Welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where today on Scout Report we are analysing how this summer's most expensive signings improved their sides. With Mauro Icardi's €65 million move to PSG, the biggest transfer in France to date, and everyone already familiar with what he brings to Le Parisien, we are instead going to focus on Germany, Spain, Italy and England's mega moves. Let's get started. Leroy Sane. It's a terrifying concept. Take a treble-winning side that scored 159 goals in 2019-20 at an average of over 3 goals per game and add Leroy Sane. Having been able to play just 2 games across the 2019-20 campaign due to an ACL injury, it's easy to forget just how electrifying the German can be on his day. This is a player who prior to his injury averaged over 0.9 goals and assists per 90 across 2 consecutive league seasons, as Man City became the first team to win back-to-back titles in 10 years. How did he do it though? Well, not only is Sane devilishly fast and capable of carrying the ball 277 metres per 90, 104 metres more than Serge Gnabry managed in 1920, but he is an excellent marksman, getting 1.2 shots on target per 90, 0.3 more than Kingsley Coman managed last term. Having played under Pep for 4 years, Sane will be familiar with Bayern's intense pressing and high line, but everything suggests he will more than pull his weight. In 18-19, a season in which he was only given 21 league starts as he began to consider a move, the former Schalke flyer averaged 17 pressures per 90. And whilst that is some way off Thomas Muller's superhuman 23, it's exactly the same as what Hansi Flick's preferred left winger Koeman managed last campaign. What's more, he won the ball back within 5 seconds of pressing 34% of the time, considerably better than every Bayern forward bar the aforementioned Muller. The one concern about this transfer is what it will mean for Alphonso Davies. The 19-year-old Canadian's conversion to a left-back last season was a complete revelation, with his 8 league and Champions League assists and recovery speed crucial to their success. Davies loves cutting to the byline, just like Sane, which could cause issues. But if they can establish a relationship, Tolisso manages to stay fit and Cuisance steps up to cover Thiago's departure, we can't see any reason not to make Bayern Champions League favourites again. And what's more, he started with a bang, with 3 league goal contributions in 72 Bundesliga minutes at the time of writing. Just ridiculous. Before I go any further, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Euro Football Daily and hit that notification bell to never miss one of our fantastic scout reports. Francisco Trincao. With Arthur and Pjanic's swap deal already discussed extensively on previous scout reports, and actually only setting Juventus back €11.2 million, the most expensive transfer in Spain at the time of recording is actually Barcelona's capture of Francisco Trincao. Eyebrows were raised in January 2020 when Barcelona shelled out €31 million on the Braga winger. After all, he had only played 1 year of senior football and managed 4 goal contributions in 11 league games to date that campaign. But having initially taken people by surprise, by the end of the season this looked like a very promising piece of business. He made 27 league appearances, 17 of which were starts, and contributed a very solid 8 goals and 6 assists as Braga finished 3rd for the first time since 2011-12. Not only did these 14 league goal contributions come at an average of 1 every 115 minutes, but only 9 players aged 21 or under in Europe's top 7 leagues could top that tally. These players, namely Sancho, Mbappe, Haaland, Boadu, Kulusevski, Alexander-Arnold, Havertz, Hakimi and Osimhen, are some of the most highly sought after young players on the planet. And whilst Trincao will have to prove he can do it at a top club, the early signs are very promising. He took the momentum gained from making his Portugal debut against Croatia in early September into Barcelona's pre-season matches, with a fantastic display in their 3-1 victory over second-tier Girona, in which he laid on an assist for Coutinho. But what makes Trincao stand out? Well, for someone so young, he appears to be pretty well rounded. Physically developed at 6 foot and with the ability to go either way, it's no surprise he completed 3.5 take-ons per 90 last term, the 3rd best record in the division. But whilst plenty of young players are able to beat a man, few show the know-how to make the right decision at the right time. But Trincao's tally of 1.2 shots inside the box, coupled with 1.9 chances created, 0.3 more than Ansu Fati, suggests he will be ready to make an immediate impact. With just 33 league appearances to his name to date, we don't want to put too much pressure on the 20-year-old. But for a relatively small fee, he's a welcome, low-risk signing in direct contrast to the most recent attacking additions. Victor Osimhen. Having talked about Victor Osimhen for an entire year at Football Daily, it seems a bit harsh to be slightly sceptical about his transfer to Napoli, which L'Équipe claimed was as much as €81 million. Fans of the partner pay will snap back and argue that their outgoings dictate this isn't much of a risk. After all, through the sales of Alan, Verdi, Inglesi, Marco Rog and a whole load of fringe players, they've managed to bring in €111 million to date. This may have helped them keep hold of Kalidou Koulibaly amidst interest from Man City, at least so far. But it shouldn't cover up the fact they've almost doubled their transfer record for a 21-year-old striker, who prior to 1920 had scored just 1 goal in a top 5 league. And let's face it, having spent €40 million on Hirving Lozano last summer to little success, the little donkeys need this one to work out. But maybe we should stop being so sceptical and appreciate Osimhen's qualities. After all, he was magnificent in 2019-20. Brought in to replace the outgoing Rafa Leao, the Nigerian was electric from the off, scoring a brace on his Ligue 1 debut and following that with 2 goals and 2 assists in September 2019 as he was named Player of the Month. And despite Les Dogs being drawn in a tough group alongside Chelsea, Ajax and Valencia, Osimhen showed that he could make an impact at Champions League level. Scoring against the Blues and Los Che, was averaging 4.3 shot creating actions per 90, 1.4 more than Mauro Icardi managed playing for Champions League finalist PSG. With notorious shot monster Milik set to leave the Stadio San Paolo, Osimhen will have to step up, but everything suggests he'll be able to. In 2019-20, only Mbappe and Montpellier's Andy Delort took more shots than him in Ligue 1, and he ranked 4th for shots on target too. Although he tied 4th with Neymar for overall league goals with 13, his non-penalty expected goals was only topped by the freakish Kylian Mbappe. Despite standing at 6'1", Osimhen is actually pretty reluctant to use his head though, with just 26% of his efforts on goal headers, compared to 31% for Milik. This could pose a bit of an issue, because despite Gattuso's Napoli still playing a possession-heavy style, with no Italian side topping their 57% last season, he has also not been afraid to whip balls into the box, with their 16.6 inaccurate crosses per game, the highest in Serie A. Less creative than Milik, but arguably with a higher ceiling, it's difficult to predict how this transfer will go. But one thing is for sure, with Mertens 33 and Insigne 29, Gattuso must get the most out of him to ensure his side improves on their inconsistent 2019-20 campaign, which saw them win their first trophy in 6 years, but finished 7th, their worst placing since 2008-9. Kai Havertz. It's fair to say that despite it being incredibly early days, Kai Havertz's adaptation to English football hasn't gone quite to plan as of yet. Signed for €77 million from Bayer Leverkusen, the 21st largest fee in football history, the 21-year-old hasn't found his groove yet in West London. Having started on the right against Brighton, he struggled to affect the game, before he was hauled off at half-time against Liverpool, having been largely anonymous, following Andreas Christensen's moronic red card. But with just a few weeks of training with his new teammates, not to mention moving to a new city, over 370 miles away from his previous home in northwest Germany, we certainly expect Havertz to improve as time goes on. That's because everything about his performances over the last few years suggests he could become one of the best players in the world. A Bundesliga regular when he was still at school, he was the youngest player to play 50 and then 100 games in the competition. He wasn't just making up the numbers though, but becoming the focal point of one of the most entertaining sides in the league, with Bayer averaging 1.9 goals per league game over the last 2 completed seasons. Havertz was a huge part of this, with 58 league goal contributions over the last 4 seasons, at an average of 14.5 per campaign. Incredible given that he has played under 4 managers in that time. Factor in that Raheem Sterling had contributed 18 fewer Premier League goals by the end of the 15-16 season when he was the same age, and you can begin to see the excitement. And whilst we aren't suggesting Havertz is anything like Sterling in terms of playing style or attributes, it goes some way to explain his links to every major club in Europe over the last 18 months. But what makes the 7-cap German so effective? It's his all-round ability. You might expect someone capable of beating his man 2.1 times and creating 2.2 chances per 90, only topped by 15 Premier League players last term, to be a tricky winger. But Havertz is a 6'2" physical specimen who can more than hold his own, using his athletic ability to break into the box late and use his lethal left foot. The main issue we have with Havertz and Chelsea is the conundrum of where to play him. Lampard has largely utilised a 4-3-3 or 3-4-3 since returning to the bridge, neither of which take advantage of Havertz's ability around the box. And so far this has held him back, with 0 shots, 1 key pass, 3 progressive passes and just 36 passes overall in his 126 Premier League minutes at the time of writing. Lampard must surely tinker with his formation at least for the more straightforward games. Drop Jorginho and play Kovacic alongside Kante at the base of midfield, allowing his German sensation a proper run as a number 10. Or else with Hakim Ziyech and Christian Pulisic still to come back from injury, Havertz might have to start establishing himself in West London from the bench. So guys, that was our scout report on how Europe's biggest signings improved their sides. What did you guys think of the rundown? Did you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. As I said earlier, don't forget to like the video and leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye!